chapter of Echad, פרק הראשון של Echad,
Say something smart. Come on, you can do it. Woohoo! Sorry, not supposed to. Sorry.
Last week, I had the privilege of speaking to my rabbi in Yerushalayim, and I asked him, how do we prepare for Tisha B'Av? How do we prepare for this incredible day of mourning? And he said, without blinking an eye, he said, in our generation, we don't need to prepare for Tisha B'Av because we have the Churban everywhere. Everywhere we turn, we see a Churban. All around us, whether it be intermarriage, apathy, hatred, anti-Semitism. Sadly, it's all over the place. So Tisha B'Av is really a time for us to stop and take an accounting of the state of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and essentially the state of the Jewish people with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's so much we need to think about. Where are we and where is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And it's one time a year. We have Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur come in another less than 2 months. That's when we take an accounting for ourselves as individuals. What did we do this year? God gave us potential. He gave us opportunity. And we're taking personal responsibility. But one time a year, we stop to take an accounting of Am Yisrael. As a Jewish people, are we heading in the right direction? Are we doing what we can do for Am Yisrael? Are we feeling connected? So a group was commissioned to take a census of how many Jews are living in the United States. And there were 2 separate groups. And this is a few months ago. And they came back with 2 numbers. One number was 4 million. 4 million Jews in the United States. And the other number came back 8 million. It's a very big parity between 4 million and 8 million. You can say 4.7, 4.8. Okay. But 4 million to 8 million. How can you have such a drastic difference of numbers? And that's because today, sadly, we don't know who's Jewish and who's not. Because you have a Goldstein who could be married, God forbid, to someone who's not Jewish. So the child is not Jewish, and his name is Goldstein. And you can have someone who has a non-Jewish name, and is married to a Jewish woman, and their child is Jewish. You don't know anymore who's Jewish and who's not. And it's a big problem. This is also our Churban of today. This is why we mourn. Specifically, the month of Av is the month that is chosen for us to mourn and to cry. Like we do tonight, we sit on the floor and we cry. The month of Av. What is the word Av? Av is a father. And what we're beseeching the Almighty on this day is for Him to have mercy on us and to show compassion to us as a father does for their child. In Av, Av is a father, and we cry to our Father to be closer to Him. I would like to share with you a story. There was a couple who lived in Vienna, and they were what people called the perfect couple. They had a beautiful marriage, they had a beautiful home, and everybody in their community loved them. And they loved them so much because anytime anyone in the community needed something, they were first to help. If there was a wedding, someone needed help with the wedding, they would help them, whether it was money, whether it was assisting. There was no job that was too big and no job that was too small. Whatever was needed, they were always there. If there was a brit, if there was a kiddush, a bar mitzvah, anything that was needed in the community, they were always there. They were always helping. They were always giving. And on the outside, this was the perfect couple. They were always happy. But there was one thing that they were missing. They didn't have any children. They were very sad for many, many years. They didn't have any children. 20 years after they got married, they heard amazing news that she was going to have a baby. And they're so excited. The whole community was so excited. Everyone loved them. Everyone adored them. Everyone was so happy finally they were going to have a baby. When it came time for them to have the child, the doctor came to their house, like the way they did it back then, before we had hospitals like we do today. And everyone is waiting to hear the good news. And the doctor comes out to the husband and he says, you know, it's not going as easily as we thought, and there's some complications. The husband was hoping that everything will work out. And he prays, Hashem, have mercy. Everything should work out. The only thing we want is a child. Sadly, the doctor comes back out again and he says, listen, it's very serious. It's either your wife or your baby, but they both will not be able to survive. You need to decide. Is it your wife or your child that you want? Doesn't know what to do. He runs to the Rav, to the Rabbi of the community. He runs to the Rabbi and he says, Rabbi, what do I do? The Rabbi says, I can't answer that question. You have to speak to your wife. Speak to your wife. He runs back to the house and the doctor says it's okay, he can come in. He goes in to speak to his wife. And he says to his wife, what do we do? It's either you. The doctor says it's either you or the child. The wife said, I made up my mind already. I made my decision. I made up my mind that because so many years we wanted a child, if we don't have the child, then we're going to be sad again for a long time that we didn't have a child. My decision is that you should have the child, but I want you to promise me one thing. That when the child is old enough to know and understand, you will take him to my grave and you will show him that I loved him more than anything in the world and I gave up my life for him. And he should know that my grave is a place he can come and always remember how much I love him. And the great rabbis say that this story is a perfect mashal for Tisha B'Av. Because in the time of the Bet HaMikdash, the Almighty said, it's either my wife, which is Bet HaMikdash, or my child, Am Yisrael. And God was ready to get rid of Am Yisrael. And the Bet HaMikdash said, I don't want you to get rid of my child. I want you to get rid of me. And I'm going to leave a remembrance that forever my child will know that I love him. And that's the Kotel HaMa'aravi. Every time we go to the Kotel HaMa'aravi, every time we go to the Western Wall, it's a place for us to go to remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was considering, like the Midrash tells us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is considering getting rid of Am Yisrael and leaving the Bet HaMikdash forever. But instead, the Bet HaMikdash said, destroy me, don't destroy my children. And they always have a place to come back to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, our Avinu Shebashamayim, our Father in heaven, always loves us and always wants our closeness, always wants our connection. On this day of Tisha B'Av, we have to think to ourselves, what are we going to do to make the Jewish people stronger this year? What are we going to do to make our own lives closer to Borei Olam, closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Whether it's in our tefillah, whether it's our limud Torah, whether it's in reaching out to a neighbor, to a friend, to someone who we know who's Jewish in our workplace, and we could say, come with me to Bet Knesset, come light a Shabbat candle, come do something to connect a little bit more. We have here a big crowd of people here. I'm sure that if every single one of us took one person under our wings, one person to invite to our Shabbat table, someone who doesn't know what Shabbat is, we bring one person to learn Torah with us. One person, not 100. One person. Then we won't have a doubt of whether the number is 4 million or 8 million. We'll be able to bring everyone tachat kanfei Hashem, and we'll be able to bring everyone under the closeness in the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. My blessing to all of us is that this should be the last Tisha B'Av. This should be the last time we mourn to the Beit HaMikdash, and all of us, B'ezrat Hashem, will be closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we should have our Binyan Beit HaMikdash rebuilt speedily in our days. Amen.
Amen.
Pérek Aleph,
Square.
Echa, first chapter of Echa, and then we're going to have a clip.